Hey creators, welcome back to the club. We're your hosts. I'm Akila Friends.
And I'm Ebony Chapman.
And today, guys, as you can see, we are joined by entrepreneur and owner of Oldvine Florals, a Black-owned floral boutique that designs blooming creations with a modern twist. Let's welcome Itika Oldwine-Grimble. Itika,
hello, ladies. Hi, everyone.
We are so happy to have you. I mean, come on, we're talking flowers, we're talking luxury. Who doesn't love luxury in the holiday season, okay?
All year round. Tis the season. Tis the season, but especially for the holidays,
Yes. Absolutely. And I feel like you carved your own lane in luxury when it comes to floral arrangements, when it comes to just boutiques, when it comes to, I think, everyday living. When you think of just like doing something nice for yourself, like I feel like flowers top the list, like buying yourself flowers or
buying your
significant others flowers. And so the fact that you carved your own lane in this is incredible. And we are going to talk about that for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that like, especially recently, there's been a lot of publicity or I guess attention on the idea of buying yourself flowers and not just roses, right? I feel like people like roses, tulips, lilies, but like there's a ton of other flowers out there and things that are pretty, arrangements for the living room, for the bedroom, for the bathroom. Like there's just so many things that you could do with the flowers. And I think a lot of our influencer celebrities like Jackie Aina.
Yes.
And then I know you know Alice Foy.
Yes.
Her too. She's always posting about Alice Foy's
She
son.
loves flowers. She loves flowers. Yeah, she loves flowers.
And so I see her posting about it all the time too. And so I'm like, yes, like Black luxury with the flowers and, you know, curating your space. I think the number one space in that like curation. So
why do you think that is?
I think it is partly access. I feel like before Instagram, which I feel like people have like they are gift and curse when it comes to social media, right? But for the flower business, in a lot of ways, it was a gift because Instagram is all about, you know, beautiful photos. And there are very few things that photograph better than a beautiful floral arrangement or a girl who's beautiful holding a beautiful floral arrangement. Like, so things, you know, people love to see, you know, photos posted of flowers. And I think once people started seeing all of these beautiful florals, they started getting interested about, you know, how do I get my hands on those? So in doing so, they started researching, and part of that research was finding people like myself who create handmade floral designs that you can buy from my boutique. They also started finding out where the wholesalers, the flower district here in LA, people are visiting that place like they've never visited before because, you know, they had no real interest in going to 7th and Wall Street in downtown LA because to be honest, it can be a little sketchy, but they go there because they're like, oh my God, I want to see all of the pampas grass. And, you know, for holiday, I want to see the poinsettia. I want to get my hands on some like freesia or anemone flowers that you just can't find, you know, anywhere else. So it's really, I think the intro into the world of flowers came in part from social media to a broader audience.
That's true. And just even because you brought up all the different types of flowers, because I mentioned earlier that, you know, there's more than just the 3 types of flowers, fellows.
Yes.
Let's get on some other ideas, but things are, you know, exotic. So I guess in a sense, how are we keeping those flowers fresh, like on a daily? Like how do you even keep up with, like, do you do research on like, oh, this is going to be the next new hit flower, like I need to get my hands on this, like how do you people fighting
it's, you know, the floral business is a bit trendy. I'm going to be honest. It's like any other kind of hot business. You want to be on top of the trend, so you don't want to be behind. So it's like, you know, baby's breath is out, eucalyptus is in, you know what I mean? You want to know these things,
right?
Because people want, when they do an event, when they have a wedding, when they have a baby shower, they want people to be really impressed by their decor. And a lot of the funds that are going towards these events are going towards flowers. And so they want to be on trend. So it is something that you can just stay on top of by just paying attention, right? I go to Pinterest and I see what people are posting. I have my favorite floral designers and I see what they're designing. You know, I talk to other florists, like what's cool. I hire really talented designers and I tell them like, you know, just make something, give me, I call it designer's choice. So I'm like, do something designer's choice. And so that they'll show me like, this is what people are doing now. This is what's cool. This is what everybody loves. Or they'll get really creative and they'll say, this is what people are gonna love. And I'm like, yes, they are, because it's great and I love it. So you have to really, you know, in some ways follow the trends and then start setting some trends yourself.
I'm so happy you told us that baby breath is out, because you could see it still sitting on our table here.
We should have known, right?
Because we tried a whole project.
The
whole baby's breath project behind us as a backdrop. It did not work out, obviously. This is the arrangement we came up with. Can you please help us out?
No. Okay, first off, I am being rude to baby's breath. Okay, baby's breath it has held us down, okay, from the 80s to present. Okay, nobody can hate on baby's breath, just like you can't hate on carnations. There is something about baby's breath that will always get a seat at the table. I will say that. I just was using it as a reference. So that baby's breath right there, I love it.
We are not offended.
No, I love it. I'm not even mad. No, I love it. I love the colors. You know what I do love about that piece, that you have to put it back, is I love the colors. I love how you color blocked. So that's what made it modern for me, is that you didn't do like roses with baby's breath and like some greenery. You color blocked. And that's what I mean about like creating trends and setting trends. And this is what's cool now. So it's like, no, baby's breath is cool because look how I color blocked it and you love it. Like everybody is going to like say that's a cool arrangement. So
yeah, I love that. We appreciate that coming from you, but definitely I think we're not opposed.
No,
starting over. Oldvine Florals.
Yes.
At all. We are not opposed at all.
The effort it's A's all around for effort, for sure.
That's right. I think it's so cool because it's one thing to say, okay, these are our trends. This is what's in. This is how I'm setting the trends in another way. These are the research that I'm doing. But I think it's a different conversation entirely to then price it to make it a luxury item, especially flowers. And I think folks feel not only like, you know, the length of time, but also the idea of that, you know what, flowers should be something that I can just pick from Trader Joe's or get from this, you know, random mart on the corner and call it a day. Like you have crafted a luxury market for something that a lot of folks would not instinctively think of as a luxury item. Like, how did you do that?
So I actually discovered that florals were a luxury item, right? So for me, where I'm from, my grandmother got flowers every week and she put them on her coffee table. She went to the local florist. It was called El Cerrito Florist. I'm from the Bay Area. And it was the equivalent of going to a Conroy's or Conroy's that you can just walk in and grab. It was like a little mom and pop. She probably spent $10. And they were lovely. She liked birds of paradise. She always told them to put birds of paradise in there, gladiolas. You know, we're talking grandma here. Love her. Hey, big mama. But, you know, it was her thing. And so she did that. So for me, flowers were supposed to be affordable, right? But I started working when I was entering into this world of luxury flowers. I started working for the in-house florist at the Four Seasons in Beverly Hills. And that's where I got introduced to the luxury floral world. So imagine it's the Four Seasons, right? So everything is luxury. And what the Four Seasons did was they hired, you know, this extremely talented team of designers to design all of the floral installations that went into the lobby. So if you go to the Four Seasons now, Jeff Latham is there. And I'm not sure if you are familiar, but he's like the Kardashians in-house florist. He does all of their big events and all their Christmases and their weddings and everything. He's the guy. So he's now their in-house florist. So if you go to the Four Seasons and you just walk into the lobby and on the Four Seasons Doheny Beverly Hills, and you'll see this beautiful installation of flowers, very artistic. And then they have a few more installations throughout. So when I was working for the in-house florist there, I was watching them make these beautiful designs. And I'm like, well, I know you, what are you charging? Right? So it's like, if you're going to design something that is pretty much a piece of art, you also have to charge the equivalent, right? So, and people are willing to pay that price. So that is the world that I'm in. So you're paying for a piece of art. Now it's going to last 5 to 7 business days. No, it's literally, we say 5 days. That's pretty much the length of your standard arrangement. Now we can make flowers, we can make arrangements with longer lasting flowers, but 5 is a pretty good life for your arrangement to last. But it really is what we're designing are, they're beautiful. They're designed by super talented floral designers. We use the best flowers, the freshest flowers. And so you're paying for that experience.
Yeah, so I guess, what are some ways or some tips you can tell someone to preserve their flowers? Maybe stretching it to the 6th day or something. Is it hairspray? Is it ice cubes in the water? Like what are the tips? What are the things?
Well, one thing I think is important that people don't understand or don't even think about is that you have to check the water. So I've gone to somebody, like sent them flowers and gone to their house, and I'm looking and I'm like, there's no water in your vase. I'm like, because flowers drink water. And so to keep the life longer, you definitely should fill your vases, right? So just pay attention, like, is every stem getting water? Like, I even put my finger, like if it's a colored vase and it's not clear, like I'll put my finger in the vase just to see, like, okay, where is the water level at? The other thing is if I have some arrangements in my house that last weeks. And so I take the flower, and a lot of it is greenery or super long lasting flowers like lavender or orchids. So I'll take the flowers out, I'll dump the water, I'll put fresh water in, and then I'll clip the bottom of the stems, and then I'll put them back so that it'll last longer. But I definitely have some arrangements here that I've had for weeks.
Wow. I mean, I think checking the water is true. There are times for me, I'm one of those folks, I buy a flower arrangement, I'm like, okay, the hard work is done. I picked the one that I liked. I'll put it in the vase and we'll just let it go.
Yes.
So the water, the cutting of the stems, the maintenance of it all is important.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, too, I want to backtrack the fact that you worked at the Beverly Hills Four Seasons, and that's where you got your, well, first of all, confirm that's where you got your first take into luxury flowers. How did that even come to be? How did you become a part of that?
It was such a amazing story. So I'm going to tell it because it's just too good. So basically I started working at the Oprah Winfrey Show in my professional career. While I was at the Oprah Winfrey Show in Chicago, I worked for different departments, but I worked as an affiliate marketer. And that was when the term marketing department really started. So that's just to show my age, right? So people right now are like, marketing, marketing, marketing. I was like one of the first people like, what's a marketing department? Oh, we got a marketing department now? Okay, cool, right? So I was like part of, that first group that started working in marketing. And so once I left the Oprah show, I decided that I wanted to be a marketer. And so I came to LA and I started working as a marketer at AEG at LA Live. So Antoine's Entertainment Group owns LA Live, which is now used to be Staples Center, where crypto.com is going to be, and all that. So I started working in marketing there. And then as I became more educated as a marketer, I felt like I could pretty much market anything, right? Because marketing, sales, it's all just kind of promoting a business and certain things that you do to promote that business. So I went out to different businesses and offered my services as a marketer. And one of those businesses that hired me was this floral company at the Four Seasons. And so I'm like, oh yeah, sure, I can help build your business as a marketer, no problem. I was like, I don't know anything about flowers. I don't know anything about the flower industry. I've never worked in it, but it really was, I can promote your business. I can build your brand. And so that's how I started at the Four Seasons, Beverly Hills, working for their in-house florist as a marketer.
I love that. So a couple things. For one, I'm just like, Oprah's out here just handing out opportunities. We also had another who works at the Oprah Winfrey Network now, who's a producer. I used to work there for, a couple years.
Yes.
Okay, Oprah out here. Is she out here?
She's making it
work. But the other thing is you were saying, okay, so now that you're at, now we're going back, but like now that you're at the Beverly Hills Four Seasons, and you were saying that you didn't know what you were doing really with the marketing space. So I guess, what was your lane and how did you kind of figure that out? Like, how were you like, you know what? This is luxury flowers. We are now marketing. I'm calling. Who are you calling? Who are you trying to have access to? Where are you sending the flower? Like, what are you doing to like?
So this was, let's say this was around 2014 when I started working at this company, right? This beautiful brand had no website. They had no Instagram. They were just taking calls all day, florals, florals, florals. They had all the connections. So they were the in-house florist for Four Seasons. They were doing the flowers at Chateau Marmont, at the Dior store for Cartier. I mean, they had the whole Beverly Hills, like Real Housewives on lock, right? That was their go-to. So they were very word of mouth and extremely successful. So as a marketer, I'm like, well, you're already like killing the game with no website, with no Instagram, with no, your no Facebook footprint. Like, so that's what I did to help develop them and kind of bring them into like the space where we are now, where everybody, obviously everybody has a website, but they weren't taking orders online. Like they were taking all of their orders just via email, or people would call in. So that's what I did.
I'm just thinking that kind of goes back to the end product in and of itself, flowers being such a, a legacy item, a traditional item, but something obviously, if you do it right, it can be modernized as well. And obviously you're doing it right. But it's like the fact that they've been so successful with that and has it on some of these top tier clients for a product that you can understand why it's word of mouth, and you can understand,
And a lot of people, like, I don't have a lot of clients that call. Like a lot of my clients do order online. But some people want to call and place their order. Other people want to chat. So they want to kind of like have an understanding of what they're getting, what I'm offering. They don't see exactly what they want online. Some people text. So I feel like there is also that personalization that people want to have their personal touch happen while they're ordering flowers. So I think that was part of what was going on over there. But I feel like now with a younger consumer, they just really want to touch and go, like push, pay now, and get their flowers out and get a confirmation and be done with it.
They see the photos, they're like, okay, this front arrangement is perfect.
I just want it to look just like what I saw on the website. Okay, great. And then I want to get like a thank you and the person appreciate it and we're happy.
And be done. As a marketer, when you saw like, oh, you don't have a website, you don't have Instagram, you don't have any of these things, but the thing is they have top clients. So in a way, I guess, maybe they were leaving money on the table. Is that how you saw it? And that's why you were like, let's push
100%. So they were doing so well. So there really wasn't, for them, there wasn't the feeling that they were leaving money on the table. But for us, we're like, there's a whole world out there. Like if somebody is just Googling you and puts in your, blah, 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 and nothing comes up, not nothing, meaning articles would come up, but not like, website on Google. Then it's like, okay, now I have to call. What if that person doesn't want to call? Then they go off to the next, you know what I mean? So that's where you're missing for sure. But then they had their client, their regular clients who called because that's what they did. They were like, okay, call, or email. But just to be able to click on a website, order flowers, push send, and know that it's going to get there, like that is definitely a lot of money that you're leaving out on the table.
Oh, and it's so clear that you, on the flip side of working within this, were able to see your effects of being there from day one. And so that's totally,
it was very rewarding. It was very rewarding.
For sure. So how did you go from that, where it's like, okay, I can see the value, I'm clearly a marketer in the space, I love what I'm doing, to then saying, not only I'm not going independent as a marketer, but I'm going independent as a florist, as a business owner. Like what happened there? And why was it so important for you to then create Oldvine?
Yeah. So what happened was it comes a time in every person's life in corporate America when it's time to go, right? So even though it was a floral company that I was working with and they were my client, eventually they asked me to come on full time. So then I was like working for them, and we were doing great, but then it was like, time for me to go, and kind of spread my wings. And so I was talking to my then boyfriend, who's my husband now, about it. And he had, spent a lot of time at the floral company because it was like a very friendly kind of fun environment. So he would come in and chop it up with everybody and get to know everybody and see how everything worked. And he's like, you were so good there. Like, you're so good at this thing. Like the clients love you, the people love you, the designers love you. He's like, why don't you open your own floral business? And it never, ever dawned on me to do that. I was like, why would I do that? You know what I mean? But when I thought about it, I was like, well, you know what? I am really good at this. I do love working with flowers. I love working with the people, I love doing events. So being part of LA Live, working at the Oprah show, which was very operations, like working with flowers, we're doing weddings and parties and dinner parties and stuff. So I love that events perspective. And I was like, I'd be cool with opening my own floral business. Like, I don't necessarily know what that looks like. Like, I have to imagine it. Right. So I started thinking about it. But then I also was like, are you going to like help a sister out? Because
period.
like, her coinage is
the realest question, like, right. The vision is great, but
so he actually was like, yeah. So I was like, okay. All right, sounds like a good idea then. And then that's how we got started.
Yeah, now it sounds like a better idea.
Right. And that's really what you have to do. You just have to really find out. Like, so come the first when all the bills are due. We're just on this hope and a prayer. But yeah, he decided to help me, which in turn was, him investing in me, investing in the business. And here we are.
Okay. I think it's so important, like when it comes to entrepreneurship in general, like the stories of the support that you need.
Totally.
Like,
yes.
You need that person in your corner. You need the person in your corner, the people in your corner. And it's in its own way. I know obviously we're talking about flowers, but it's a cliche. The idea of, giving people their flowers, the fact that they noticed, or your now husband recognized the potential, the skill and the ease of which you be able to succeed in something and say, you know what? I'm going to support you in more ways than one. And so I think that's, so I just want to get your take on the idea of just like, as Black women in general, Black, community at large, because obviously he's a Black who supported you, but just the idea of giving folks their flowers in real time while you see them, all of that. And what is that idea of giving folks their flowers and giving people their support really mean to you?
Well, I think in a lot of ways, it's a luxury to be able to do that, right? So he was successful enough in his own right, and he was well educated. He went to Xavier University. He, works for himself essentially. So he knows kind of what this road is going to be like. And I feel like in the Black community, we are really this generation. Now we have entrepreneurship throughout, right? Obviously we have mom and pops, we've got doctors, we've got attorneys, but I think it's really just starting to become super acceptable and super promoted to be your own boss in a real way. And so but I feel like for so long, it was only something that a small group of people had the fortune to be able to do it. And the fortune, meaning like the wealth, right? The money. And then also, people who could guide them, because had I just decided to do this without proper guidance or preparation, I wouldn't be here, right? Because I was taking a risk, but I was also very well prepared. So I feel like there's that space that as a community that we are in and we have gotten to. I'm very proud of us for that, because it takes the courage, right? And the want to do it, but it also does take capital, and it takes information, and it takes access, and it takes people who are willing to bet on you and to spend their dollars on you. And it's a lot that goes into being an entrepreneur, but you definitely need a ton of support.
Yeah, I think that's so true, because I mean, we talked about it too, like the idea of like giving flowers. And so like the example that immediately popped into my head was like Regina King, right? Like she has been acting since she was a kid. Yes, she's an A-list celebrity, but I also think that there's a lot of missed opportunities on her, and just like the people recognizing the talent that she actually is. And I think now in 2021, 2020, she produced the One Night Miami. She also is now in that new Netflix movie produced by Jay-Z. I think she also has a
Harder They Fall. It's so good. You guys should see it. You guys should watch it.
So good. It was so good.
Yes.
And we have a Black Western on the map now.
Yes.
So I feel like as a Black community, we're not all the way there yet, but we are making strides to be in a place of actually supporting one another. I think for the whole world and society pins us against each other, and we feed right into that. And so
Mhm.
even though we have recognized our talents a little bit more, putting ourselves on platforms, supporting small Black-owned businesses, supporting Black-owned businesses, period, that it's now kind of like, okay, like we're kind of coming around a little bit. There's so much work to do, but I think in the space and how we see each other, because we really see each other in that light, is, it is definitely getting better. Like you said, like it's definitely people
so much. And I'm telling you, I have clients who are so committed to buying their flowers from me because I'm Black owned. They're like, we spend our dollars with Black owned businesses. I'll have people like go on my chat when they're online before they even check out, and they say, hey, is this business Black owned? And I'm like, yes, we are. And then they check out, then they're like, okay, I'm going to buy. So I feel like it's something that people take pride in. Like, I'm supporting another, Black person. Like, I'm happy to do this. And I think that's dope. I really like that. I feel good about it. And so I try to make sure people know we're Black owned. So that's the other thing. It's like, how do you make sure that everyone who wants to know that there's a Black owned florist around town knows about us? So that's, that's the next step.
And I feel like with that too, because sometimes when you lead, or I would say like you lead with that, I'm a Black owned business, I support Black folks. Folks might be hesitant to do that because they think it would alienate their larger base, or the larger, base who are not Black. And who knows? Who knows if that's the truth.
Let me tell you,
yeah.
In my opinion, you will find that Black people want to spend their dollars with Black businesses, and non-Black people want to spend their dollars with Black businesses. It's not just that non-Black people are going to be like, oh, you're saying you're Black owned, I don't feel comfortable spending my money with you. No, they're like, I'm so proud to spend my dollars with a small Black owned, woman owned business. And they will tell me that. I'm like, well, I appreciate you for doing that. I'm telling you, I think it's a win-win. I really do. I truly think it's a win-win. And for those who are turned off by it, trust me, the dollar will come from somewhere else. It will come from somewhere else. So we'll be okay.
It reminds me too, like, not to compare to another, like, show, but of Insecure, like the idea of Insecure being made for Black people, Black women, etc., and her audience base are mostly non-Black folks who are watching. So it can happen. Just have that authenticity,
because it's good. Like, it's good, and it's and Black people, Black culture. We're good. Like, we're they want to watch Insecure, of course. Yes, everyone wants to watch Insecure. Obviously, it's like a great show.
Right. It's entertaining, and I think that too. Like, I think sometimes like we just don't give ourselves enough credit, because like me personally, I know, like, I love documentaries, right? And I say that all the time. So for me, I'm like, if there's a documentary that's on like Asian American culture, or like something that's going on there, like I would watch it because I'm curious to know what's happening. Or like they had that show Fresh Off the Boat, and it was like an all mostly Asian cast, and that show actually like really, really well on ABC, I believe. And so it's like, to think like that someone who's not Black would not want to watch or not participate in something that is Black owned. Like, I think that's like our own, I don't want to say like use the word insecurity, but it's like our own,
it's history. It's not even, I think it's history.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier about like, giving folks our flowers and that support from day one. And now we're at that era where folks are really wanting to become entrepreneurs.
Yeah, they want, and they do. And I just think that it's supporting Black businesses and being loud and proud about it, whether you're Black, white, Asian, wanting to support Black businesses. That also was really catapulted through the BLM movement, Black Lives Matter. So I don't want to take that away either. When Black Lives Matter, and we were marching for George Floyd, obviously, but we were also marching for a bigger cause, which was that Black Lives Matter. And I think what that turned into was bigger conversations about how you can support Black people. In a lot of ways you can do that, right? And one of them was through supporting Black businesses. And so I think it became not only acceptable, but like kind of important to support Black businesses, because we are a community that, we're out here and we need you to recognize that we're here and we're doing all these amazing things and we can do them as good as anyone else, and put your dollars over here and spread those dollars. So I think gone are the days where we are afraid to say that we're Black owned, or that, this is I really think it's definitely okay to be loud and proud about being a Black owned business in 2021.
I think so too. And I think it's so real because, you know, it's not even the fact that folks were nervous, but the fact that there were literal political and governmental like backlash. You know, we think about the Tulsa massacres and all that happened. If you were thriving Black business or thriving Black communities, making it off of your own dollars, the worry and the fear that comes with it. And now that, you know, obviously there's always tension, but at least it's not on that. It doesn't seem on that same level. So folks are now like, okay, that same entrepreneurial spirit that we always had are now now able to really
we're just able to be seen because you know, before ignoring the fact that racism was a thing, and now 2020 was like, okay, y'all thought it was over, it ain't over. This mess happening everywhere, like we're all outraged, okay? Black, white, Asian, Mexican, like we're all mad. So figure it out, government, figure it out. I also want to just talk about like going back to Oldvine Florals and just talking about like, okay, master, you are the master marketer. You have been working at the Four Seasons with like the top florists. I mean, freaking doing anything involved with the Kardashians is like gold, diamond, platinum. Like it's just all the way to the left. So I guess, how are you able to kind of get the market or the word out on your new business and get kind of clients in the door, get the business rolling? How were the first like maybe 6 months?
You know what? It was really boots on the ground. So I decided, in working for this floral designer at the Four Seasons, working for AEG, somewhere in there, I also went and got my real estate license, right? So I'm just a marketer. I was like, I can market these houses, right? So I got my real estate license. So one thing in real estate they talk about is your farm. So your farm is the people that you go to who are kind of like close to you, that know you, that you tell them, oh, hey, I have my real estate license now. I can help you get a house. Are you interested? Do you know anyone that's interested? That kind of thing. So I applied that to my new venture. It's Oldvine Florals. So I literally sent out individual emails and texts to everyone that I knew, letting them know that I am now starting a floral business. I created, you know, the website, right? So I had that website. I put, you know, images up. So this is, you know, kind of giving you a look and aesthetic. You can get pricing. And then I just sat down with anyone that would sit down with me for coffee to tell them about the business, what we would like, what we offer. People that I knew that did events, I asked to sit down with them. People that I knew who worked for corporate companies, I asked to sit down with them. Friends that I knew who liked to do floral gifting, I asked to sit down with them. So I really did take a lot of time just sitting down with people and sharing with them this great news that I was starting my own business. And literally after every meeting, I made a sale. So, and that's what you have to do, is really be pointed about it. Like, who am I sitting down with and what do I want them to do? Do I want them to spread the word? Do I want them to hire me for an upcoming event? Do I want them to tell, you know, their boss to use me because they work for a high, you know, executive somewhere? And so that really got me going. So once people started buying flowers from me, then that's where kind of like the harder work came in, because I was not a floral designer. So I was like, how do I make these flowers? I don't know the first thing. So I didn't have much money, but in the beginning and I didn't have a studio. So I would hire floral designers that I knew who would come to my house and design the flowers. And then I would deliver them. And so then it was very, very, you know, we just putting the pieces together. Yes. And we did that for about a year. And we did that for about 6 months. And then after 6 months, we started getting real traction, and people started, you know, saying, hey, you know, Itika has a floral business. And we got an investor who decided to invest in Oldvine, and they asked us like, okay, we were hearing about you. I think this is dope. I love that a Black woman is entering the flower space here in LA. What do you need? And I was like, to be honest, I need a studio. I need a place where we can work, because right now I'm making the flowers in my house. It's hot. The AC is not kicking in the way it's supposed to kick in. And we got buckets in the living room. It's just an entire thing. And I'm living with my then boyfriend, who's kind of OCD. So he's like, who gonna get all this stuff up? Like, it's petals everywhere. It's just not cohesive. So the investor invested in Oldvine. I was able to open a storefront downtown LA. We're at 132 West 7th Street. And that also gave us way more credence. Like now people are like driving by like, oh, there goes Oldvine. You know what I mean? They see Oldvine Florals. I'm on Google now, like Google Maps. You can see me. It's so funny. Did you shoot at my store or no?
I did.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So that was honestly, I still use those shots.
Love it.
Because that's when we first opened.
Yes, and you guys did like this amazing event, and like just the way, because the front of the store is kind of like a garage, if that makes sense. Like the front of it all the way opens up, so the sun, so much sunlight, and everything in there is like stainless steel or white, so everything is so reflective. So the photos were just so easy to take because everything photographed really well because there was so much light in the studio. So it was
So that was when we first opened. So that was again, just putting yourself out there and being, really honest about what you're doing and who you are, and having confidence and having confidence that the people that you talk to are going to want to do business with you and want to invest in you.
Like, were you nervous at all? Because I'm thinking through the first days of the Black Creators Club and the first days of us now sometimes, like us wanting to, let's say, have a new venture or something out, the merch, for instance. And
it's been a nightmare.
The first group, like you talk about your farm, and that's so true. But even reaching out to our farm, there was a level of like having to hype ourselves up and like, okay, we want folks to buy this merch. Okay, we got to talk to them about the merch. We got to talk to them about what we do. We have to really be, like you say, confident about knowing that the folks that we know are in our circle would actually support us in this way.
Which they
absolutely, so it pays off in tenfold. But I think for you, it's one thing to have the support, know you have the funds, know you have the expertise to start this business, but then to really get the word out. As one solo person, like what went through your mind? Now
solo person on top of the fact that you said you were still hiring people to design the flowers, but now I believe you do it yourself too. So
so I think the important thing is to really believe that people want to see you succeed, right? So it's like, these are my friends. They want me to succeed. And if they don't want you to succeed, then they're not your friends. You should probably get rid of them. So that's a whole nother podcast combo, something. But that really is, it's like, these people want me to succeed. They want to see me do well. And so I'm not asking somebody that is not my friend or isn't at least friendly with me. So if they tell me a no, it's not because they can't, right? So if I'm offering my floral services to someone, it's not because they're like, I don't want to use Itika, I'd rather use someone else. That's not why you're saying no. You're saying no because maybe, you know what, I never ordered flowers from anyone ever. Sorry, girl, you got the wrong person. But hey, my best friend, she orders flowers once a week. I'm about to hook you guys up, right? So that's the worst thing that could happen. That's how I looked at it. I was like, all the people that I'm contacting, they actually want to see me succeed. The other thing I think, we have to believe that, you have to know that. And the other thing I think is that people get scared around asking for money, or you feel like you're asking people to spend their money with you. And in my mind, I'm like, they're going to spend it anyway, right? So wouldn't they prefer to spend it with someone like Itika, like someone that they know, that they want, that they know they're supporting and helping and they're building, and they can say, hey, I knew Oldvine when, and I ordered an arrangement for them back in blah, blah, blah. And now look at them now. You know what I mean? So it's like, we're going to order flowers anyway. I might as well order from you. So it's just kind of taking away whatever the conversation that you're having in your head and just shifting it and having a totally different conversation around approaching people, specifically people that you know, and asking them to use your business.
Yes. I want to make sure that we touch on too, because as you're talking, I'm like, this is obviously inspirational and it's obviously like just amazing what you've been able to do in such a short time frame, but the timing in which you started, you know what I mean? Sometimes, oftentimes we talk about entrepreneurship in this modern day and age. It's like something folks are doing in high school, or they have this college stuff with their dorm roommate, or like potentially they first graduated and now they're in it. You had a whole career, and then you decided to shift to start a new business.
Yes.
Like just talk us through like what it means or what it meant for you to start something at the stage and the age in which you started.
Yeah, so I never thought about being an entrepreneur. I think my I was told, you know, as a young person, like go to college, get a good job. And then the way that I saw that working out was, you know, a lot of times it was like be a doctor or a lawyer, right? It wasn't like all these other options. Maybe somebody would say be an engineer, but I was like, I'm not that great at math, so it's definitely not happening. And so I went to UCLA. I was thinking I was going to go to law school. I interned at a law office and I was like, oh, I do not want to do this for the rest of my life. Like it just did not, something wasn't working. So I ended up going to get a master's because I didn't know what to do after UCLA. And so I felt like getting my master's was helping me be a better candidate in the corporate world. And it was. And so I got a job in corporate America working at the Oprah show, which was a television production, but it was in Chicago and was very much run like a corporation. And I stayed there for 10 years. And in that time, you know, I got to live that corporate world, like in a cubicle, having, you know, different bosses, different levels, you know, you have the assistants, the executive assistants, the associates, this and that. So I got to see how everything works, how, you know, things are run from the top down, corporate culture, how you should speak to people, how to send an email, your response time, like all those things were so important when it came to working for myself. And that I didn't know. So I went through that whole experience still like, oh, I'm going to be working in the corporate world. And then once I left the Oprah show and I came to LA and I started working at AEG, I did not have a great corporate experience. So I could not have stayed at any other company for the length of time I stayed at the Oprah show. And if the Oprah show didn't end, I'd probably still be there. So what I realized very quickly was like, this is not going to work. I can't work in a corporate setting where I'm not happy, where I'm not being celebrated, where I'm not spoken to properly, where I'm not just given like, you know, there were just stuff going down. I was like, this ain't all right. Listen, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. So then it was like very like, she's not happy, people. It's, you know, so then I was like, I got to get to my happy. And that's where I decided that I wanted to kind of explore different things that did not include working in corporate America. And then that becoming an entrepreneur in a sense.
Love that. So speaking of your happy, with Oldvine Floral, it's been around for how long?
So we started officially in 2017 as an online boutique. And then we opened our storefront in 2018.
Okay, perfect. So 2017, 2018. So fairly still like a startup or very like still fairly new company.
Yes.
However, you have been killing it in the circuit and in the game, working with some top celebrities. Are we allowed to say? Jay-Z?
Yes, for sure.
Like there's so many different, you know, corporate high, you know, valued corporations, high valued celebrities. So I would love, or we would definitely love, our audience would definitely love to hear maybe a story or an experience of either like your favorite client or something that was like, oh my God, this, and then you don't have
moment that you realize.
A moment, like, maybe you don't have to say the person's name or the company if it's like, whoa, they were demanding a whole lot, but like just something fun where you were like, okay, this is either an experience I can't wait to tell my kid one day, or like, what was something that you could share?
Well, we've really been blessed. So we've had some great clients. I guess my favorite story to tell is that we delivered, was it Mother's Day or Valentine's Day? I'm pretty sure it was Mother's Day. We delivered Mother's Day flowers to Beyonce, and Jay-Z and Blue like came to the door. So that was like,
oh my God, not Blue. We knew she ran the house, but
listen, it was like, okay, I could close my company now. I could just close the doors. We're done. We've mission accomplished. I'm moving to Bermuda and living on an island, and we're done. But no, that was really like dope. Just to, you know, it's like Black excellence. Like we're just over here, just being excellent. And another really amazing story that it's a great story, but I did a huge event for Ava DuVernay when she opened her studios. And it was just dope because when I first moved to LA, I went to a very small, God, what is the word I'm searching for? Premiere, right? We'll call it a premiere at Raleigh Studios, super, super small. And it was Ava DuVernay's directorial debut. And it was about 30 people in the room. No one had even heard of her. She was like a publicist at the time. She wasn't like a director. And I had just moved to LA. It was probably like the first couple months from Chicago. And I was like, she was talking to the audience and it was very intimate. And I was like, oh, this woman is okay. It's good for her. She got this movie premiere, you know, best of luck. And then she became Ava DuVernay. Like I should have like at least like got her number or something. Like it was that intimate, right? But I was like, it's lovely. I mean, I have nothing negative to say, but I just left like, oh, okay, well, where are we going for dinner? So it turns out when she opened her studios array on Glendale and very right outside of downtown LA, we were chosen to do the florals for her grand opening. And it was a huge event. Her guests included Cicely Tyson, Oprah Winfrey, Colin Kaepernick. That's when she had the Exonerated Five were there. So just to know that, you know, that level of full circle in that moment, it's like, you know, this is really like God's plan. You know, it's bigger than just me creating Oldvine Florals and putting flowers in vases. Like this is
so
crazy.
Interesting because we hear stories every day
all the time
about
this.
Like just
full circle.
I don't know, like full circle / I would say like divine intervention. Like because at the end of the day, some of the time, it's like you are really servicing people that at the time are really like nobodies. Essentially, like somebody, but they're not everything like how they would be like, you know, later on. And so, you know, we interviewed tons of people that are like, oh, I did this and I saw this person and I, you know, interviewed that person, but that at the time it was, you know, a rapper down the street and now it's like the biggest thing out and it's but and then you still have that connection. And then like, you know, sometimes you do have those full circle moments where you're like, oh, I interviewed you when no one knew you and now people know you and here I am. And it's just like, I don't know how to describe that. Like, I don't know what that is. It's just so interesting.
Serendipitous. It's almost like, you know, we can ask you, you know, how does that happen? But it's like, how do you decide on getting the word out? And there's no blueprint, but it seems
there's
like
literally no blueprint.
Just be outside, right?
Yeah, and really just put one foot in front of the other. Like I always tell my girlfriends who are also entrepreneurs and kind of living this entrepreneurial life, like it's literally progress over perfection. Like just keep doing something. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be like life-changing. It doesn't have to like make you $1 million tomorrow, but it just has to be something. You're just continuing to just make progress towards your goal.
I'm stealing that progress over perfection. Like if you see us wearing that t-shirt, I do not come from.
Listen, please spread the word. That is literally my mantra, progress over perfection.
It's true.
I love that.
What would you say now? I know obviously we're talking about the flowers, but we know Oldvine's got a couple other things up their sleeves. So what else would you say, either person, client, corporation that's on your wish list and things that you're working on now that we should know about?
Well, my wish list, I definitely would love to do the Grammy brunch that Beyonce and Jay-Z do. I'm like,
when you do it,
I want to do those flowers so bad. I'm like, I need to do, I think it's the Rock Brunch, Rockefeller Brunch. I was like, the Rock Nation Brunch, their flowers are always bomb. I'm like, how do I do it? So if anyone is listening out there, Rock Nation, Oldvine Florals.
Listen, sounds like you need to talk to Blue, right?
Yeah. I feel like, listen, she's probably over there checking everybody's resume like,
I mean, you already deliver flowers to her. I feel like at that point, you're already on.
Like, you don't remember me? I was like waving. So yeah, that is definitely on my wish list, the Rock Nation brunch. And then what was the other one?
Things that you're working on currently that we should know about, that, you know.
So we just launched our own fragrance and it is called Oldvine Fragrance. It is a luxury fragrance that we created with a company called Firmenich. Firmenich is the largest fragrance maker out of France. And we are the first African-American female florist they have partnered with. And we have our scent that is available now online on oldvinefragrance.com. It's called Meadow Bloom, and it is fantastic. It's like a mix of vanilla and freesia, and it smells so good. And it's very, very long lasting, and it's for men and women. And we have 2 candles. One is called Find Your Zen, which is has basil and lavender and atlas cedar, and it's just very calming. And the other is Bridal Bouquet, and that's made with gardenia, so it's a little more floral, but they are like, literally, you light this candle, your whole house will just.
That's what I want to hear. I love, we love candles. That's like, it's not just me. We love candles, obviously. And I think also the fact that you are divvying into these new business models, it makes so much sense. You would think, okay, floral company, stay a floral company, but no, you're, you know, just diversifying yourself into scents overall is.
Well, we had to do it because at the end of the day, when people ask me like, hey, can you send your flowers to, you know, Richmond, Virginia? It's like, no, I'm sorry, I can't. And I wanted to create something that if people wanted part of what we were doing, something, you know, that I could say, hey, but we could send, you know, we have a luxury scent, we have a luxury candle. And honestly, it's just as nice as our floral arrangements. Like the person that will receive this will feel just as special. So I'm happy to be able to do that. And we're excited to expand. We want to, you know, get into some boutiques and, you know, make this, you know, we want people to know that there is a Black owned luxury fragrance line out there. So you can wear our perfume just like you wear YSL and Chanel and Tom Ford. You can wear Oldvine.
I was about to say, don't be because Firmenich makes the YSL, Chanel, like top brand luxury perfume. So you are in there, girlfriend. You are doing it.
That's it.
Listen, I just need dab. If everyone could just smell it, and I'll also get you guys a sample. Honestly, I will, because I would love for you to smell it so that you can speak to the scent, because we created the scent ourselves, and it was so important for us to make something that was special and unique to our story. And so I'm going to definitely give you guys some samples.
Let me just tell you, I am like the nose smelling Nazi. Like I'm so obsessed with scents and smells, and I'm like, my man needs to smell good, I need to smell good.
Yes,
I'm so obsessed with scents. So like candles and perfumes, like I'm like, somebody get me a subscription to Scentbird for Christmas, please.
Yes, no, I got you. I'm gonna get both of you guys, because you'll love it, and that's why I'm like, okay, I need to get this out here. So I'm basically treating the fragrance like I've treated Oldvine Florals, like just spreading the word, making sure everybody knows it's available, and you will be very, very pleased.
Will absolutely be your farm. And so Ebony, tell us what else is unique and something that the folks need to know about.
Yes, you guys need to continue to watch, like, subscribe, comment, rate, all the things. The Black Creators Club podcast. You guys, we're so excited to continue to, you know, chat and talk to wonderful entrepreneurs, business focused women, Black women like Itika. This is just like our dream come true. We love to just hear stories, talk to people, get the energy, get the vibe, promote Black owned businesses. You guys, this is literally the hookup. Like, if you guys don't already know what it is, like, we guys get you like discounts, giveaways, like freebies. We are just doing it all. So if you guys are not tapped in, you guys need to get tapped in. Like, subscribe, comment, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. You guys already know what it is. If you guys want to email us, it's the blackcreatorsclub@gmail.com. If you want to be a guest, or you know someone else that would be an amazing guest. And then of course, please follow us on the gram on Instagram at the Black Creators Club.
Okay? Exactly. All that and more. But Itika, we are not done with you yet. Okay. We are talking if flowers could talk. This ain't Bill Street. This is Oldvine.
Oh goodness. Okay.
Yes. So most people love flowers, but may not be 100% clear on what to get depending on the occasion. All right. Mm-hmm. So you obviously know a thing or two or three or four about flowers. So we're just going to put you to the test. We're going to name some life events and ask you what flower or plant would be best for us to purchase.
Oh goodness. Okay.
Easy. You got it.
Okay.
So the first one, I want to say, I love you. Does the type of flower change for a guy or a girl? Say, if I want to say I love you to a guy, or if I want to say I love you to a girl, if it makes sense.
Honestly, I don't think so. I think the quintessential I love you flower is a red rose. So if you want to send a woman a message that you love them, definitely red roses. They could be designed in a more maybe masculine way potentially. But I think guys who will appreciate flowers, they would appreciate a nice arrangement of red roses as well. But I love you either way. Red rose, I love you.
Love that. Perfect. Keep it
Gotta
simple.
do it.
Keep it classic. Okay.
Yes.
So the next one is, I've decided to become a plant mom. What should I get to start my little collection?
Great. I would suggest either a pothos, that's spelled P-O-T-H-O-S, or a snake plant. Both plants are very modern. So if you put them in your home, you won't feel like, you're that plant mom, right? You want to be the cool plant mom. So the cool plant mom, you'll have the pothos or the snake plant. The other great thing about both of those plants is they need little light. The pothos kind of needs no light. The snake plant just needs a little light. And I find that a lot of people kind of, maybe they don't understand where the light is coming from in their home. Some people have great, light comes from everywhere, but some folks, they put a plant in a certain place because that's where they want the plant to live, but they don't think about, is that plant getting access to light? So the pothos needs little to no light, and the snake plant just needs a little light. The other great thing about both of those plants for starter plants is they don't need a lot of water, or you can over or underwater them. So some plants are very, very meticulous. If you overwater them, they will drown and die. And some plants, if you underwater them, they will dry out and die. So the pothos and the snake plant are very good when it comes to, like, I could be overwatered and not die, and you can forget about me for a couple of days or a week and I won't die. So those are the two plants that I would start with.
We love, Laura. I would say love an independent plant. Yes, because I think that's the biggest
I don't have
thing.
a green thumb at all.
I wouldn't, so bad. And I haven't heard of those two plants, so that's amazing news to even know about. Like,
yes,
I was like, it's a cactus or bust, because like,
well, the thing about cactus is cactus are only really good outdoors. So if you're going to do an indoors plant, it would be succulents. But cactus, they're actually outdoor plants technically, but succulents are like part of the cactus family, but yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so what about, you're congratulating your friend on their new job?
Yes. Male or female, I would say like a mixed floral arrangement. So the one thing I like to do is to find out like what's their favorite color. So if your friend loves purple, send her a purple arrangement. If she loves yellow, send her a yellow arrangement. She loves blush pink, send her a blush pink arrangement. So I feel like congratulatory arrangement, something they want to make the other person feel really, really good. I like to say, oh, well, what's their favorite color? And then we'll make something based on that.
That's cute.
Oh, I know. And the crazy thing is, like, plants come in every single color, and then you can dye plants to be certain colors. So
yes,
yes, you can make it
this
work.
Is when you need a designer.
Yeah, you can make it work. You can make it work.
Over here trying to do the DIY plant science experiment. Okay, so I am getting into my self-care, self-love vibe. I want to buy myself flowers maybe on a weekly basis, and I really don't want to break the bank. I want to stay in budget. Flowers, they die quickly. I'm single. I'm on my own. I do not want to be spending a whole bunch of money on the plants. What flower arrangement would you suggest?
I would say hydrangea and sunflowers. They're not the longest lasting, but if you're going to buy once a week, you'll be good. So hydrangeas, they're very fickle, but they also drink from the top and the bottom. So you could put the actual hydrangea bloom underwater and let them drink that way, and then put the stems in a vase, and you'll get a few days out of them. Sunflowers are beautiful, but once they get cut from the ground, they start kind of dwindling fast. So they don't last much longer than a week. But to me, those type of flowers, if you put them in a vase, they'll brighten up any room. They're beautiful. They're easy. They pretty much go with any decor. And then you could just kind of every week, just grab a bunch of sunflowers, grab a bunch of hydrangea.
I love that. I tried to do that with sunflowers, and it's so true, because literally it lasted 2 days and that thing was wilting like no one's business. I was
yeah.
It's
unfortunate. They're not very long lasting. You would think sunflowers will be longer lasting. They're really not that long lasting.
They're not. But I mean,
but they're easy. So you could just put them in and be done,
Yeah, let's
buy them when you know someone's coming over.
So let's say I did something, I just feel horrible, I hurt someone's feelings,
Shame
and I just
on you.
want to, and that's why I'm going to Oldvine, all right? So flowers to say, I'm sorry?
Yeah. I would probably do white.
Oh.
I feel like white has very like pure, something that's very easy. And if most people aren't turned off by white flowers, so if you try to get creative and send them colorful flowers, they might not like those. If you try to, get very pointed and send them a plant, they might say, I have a green thumb. Why are they sending this? I can't even keep it alive. But I think white flowers, there's a sentiment behind it. They're very clean, very sleek. I think white is very safe.
I think that's a great idea.
White is always better to stay with the pure white flowers, white walls, white furniture.
Just keep it clean. Just keep it clean and simple. Yes.
Clean and simple, especially if like a space with open windows.
Yes.
Okay, so last one.
Mhm.
I am working in this drabby space every day. We are work from home life vibes. I am just bored. I'm uninspired, unmotivated. I need a little sprucing up in my space. What kind of flowers would you suggest to kind of give the space a little brightness?
To spruce up, I probably would do plants. Yeah. I mean, I would do flowers if you're going to do them regularly, but I think if I want to spruce up a space, I would do plants. And plants, there are so many different types of plants. And I would just probably get like a really nice pot. But I would probably go to my website, or you can go to the flower mart and just find some like really cool plants. And I would probably do some types of plants to spruce up.
I love that. That's a good idea too. And it's a workspace. So you kind of want something a little more longer lasting. You don't want to paycheck flowers every week. So that's great. So that concludes our game. If flowers could talk, and obviously every flower that she just mentioned, you can go to Itika's website and get a corresponding, perfume, candle, and just,
floor arrangements, whatever you need.
The entire space. This was so great, Itika. Like literally learned so much. I inspired by your story. And this was just, I feel like the tip of the iceberg. So we will be in touch for a part 2, 3, and 4. But
I love that. Thank you.
Of course. Let our listeners know where they can find you, where they can find Oldvine and support what you got going on.
Yes, for sure. So my name is Itika Oldwine-Grimble, and we are oldvineflorals.com online and oldvinefragrance.com. We're located at 132 West 7th Street in downtown LA if you're in the LA area. And we're on all socials as at Oldvine Florals or at Oldvine Fragrance.
Love it. Okay. And you can find me chatting media and life motivation, all with a dash of style, at Akila Friend. Ebony, where can they find you?
Yes, you guys. Also, I just want to shout out, because there's just no way I can edit it out. Like, there's been dings going on. That's my email.
24/7 job.
I work all the time. So just
listen.
Forgive the little email dings, but you guys can find me on Instagram at ebonychapman12, talking everything Black-owned business, and of course the Black Creators Club. Don't forget to get your merch.
Yes. You can find all things the Black Creators Club at the Black Creators Club on all platforms. Thank you so much for joining us today, and remember to always abide by your ABCs. Always be creating.